Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to review the Nord Electro 5D. I've been eyeing one of these for a while, and I finally went out and got myself one. So I'd like to share how it sounds with those of you who are also contemplating the purchase. I'm going to mainly play through the presets and tweak them, because this is really a board that is meant for, I think, people that play more as opposed to, say, synthesizers. In between, I'm going to maybe just say a few words on the system itself, but really this isn't going to be covering the specs or anything very technical. This is more of how the system or the keyboard sounds. Without further ado, let's start going through some of the presets. I'm going to start with a couple of pianos so you can get a feel for how this sounds. So what you've just heard is the Italian Grand, or the Italian Grand XL. Let's play another piano. Here's the Studio Grand 2. So that's how the Studio Grand 2 sounds. Let's take one more. Let's see what they have here. There was a nice bright piano. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. So this would be used maybe more for rock or gospel, or where you need the piano to cut through a mix. Okay, so I just say that this piano is not weighted, so the keys are kind of more like synth-like. They've been designed for playing Hammond and Clav. They're okay for playing piano. You can get a pretty nice dynamic range. Of course, it's not a substitute for a good either acoustic or electric piano. Let's look at some of the electric pianos on this board. This is patch or preset number 3, custom MK1, and this is an MK1 Rhodes model. You can get a nice bite from the sound. I like it. You can modify the sound on the fly with a few simple ways. You have a pretty good effects section here. And by good, I mean the effects are nice, but you have nice real-time control. So I can, for example, turn off the chorus or on and control the amount of it fairly easily through the knob. Actually, the rate in this case. Oh, that's too much. I can also select the type of modulation effect here, like a flanger. That's kind of nice, having immediate control over the effects. The downside of this is that the effects section is fairly shallow, so you don't have any deep programming or anything like that. Let's look at a few others. This is an LA Grand, a classic sort of 80s sound. Let's look at a few others. Some nice tines. These are overlaid with a synth sound, and you can overlay or split two parts. So in this case, it's a synth and a piano. I can turn off the synth relatively easily. Or I can turn it on and modify the amount of the mix. Let's look at a few others. A whirly sound. So nice for those Supertramp covers. Another electric piano, in this case an MK5. There are no effects turned on, but just as I said, you can really easily turn them on and off. So let me turn on, say, an autopan effect. So this immediately gives the sound more depth. And I can turn on the chorus as well. Let's say I want chorus number 1 and just a little bit of it, this. So you can see how easy it is to modify the sound on the fly, although the modification options aren't very deep. One more keyboard-like sound before we move on, maybe to other sounds. This is a romantic upright. So nice for those ballads. They have decent upright pianos. Actually, I've never really heard a perfect kind of upright piano on a keyboard before, but Nord has done an okay job, I think. Not perfect, but okay. Let's look at something a bit different. Let me just go through the presets here. As I've said, I'm going to mainly look at the presets. Let's be honest, this is not a keyboard for tweakers. If you're buying this, then you're not interested in deep sound design. You're probably interested in just playing interesting sounds or faithful reproductions of electromechanical keyboards as Nord would have it. Let's look at Snappy D6. So one of the keyboards this says or claims to emulate is a clav, a D6 clav, and it has, I've loaded it now, it actually doesn't have any deep settings. You can select the pickup model here. You have 4 pickup positions, and there's an auto wah turned on, where the velocity modulates the cutoff. Let me turn off the wah. Sorry, yeah, the wah. You can hear how the sound is without the effect. So another nice thing about, actually let me see, let's take this, let's take the A position. Another nice thing about this is if I turn on the wah, I can actually make it or assign the control of the depth of the wah to a control pedal, to an expression pedal, which I have linked now. This is what my right foot is on. So now it's linked to the expression pedal, and I can modulate just by moving the expression pedal with my foot. Which is kind of nice. Another nice implementation here, I think they have really good speaker and overdrive emulations. And they happen to go pretty well, in my opinion, with a clav. There are 5 different models. Let's put on a rotary speaker, which is maybe not the sort of the main sort of effect you'd put on a clav. And turn on the overdrive. So I'm enjoying it. I hope you are too. And I'm going to turn off the effects and look for another patch. Okay, I think we've seen pretty much most of the piano section. Let's look at something slightly different. How do the synth patches sound? I know that many of you are waiting for the Hammond section that's coming up in a bit. Let's look for maybe some strings. Not bad, not particularly convincing, but not bad. A tremolo. Let's look at, say, they actually have pretty good brass emulations here. So let's find maybe the brass sounds, and I'm going to change the decay, release, sustain. The orchestral sounds are actually very good. Some trombones, some more reverb. Trumpets are good. Many of the acoustic sounds are either good or passable or very good. Let's go through, maybe let's see if we have some other interesting synth patches. No. So they've sampled some synth sounds from their G and A synth Nord lines. So I think this gives you kind of an idea of the synth sounds you have available on this board. Finally, we've come to maybe what's the main selling point of this board for many people, which is the Hammond emulation section. Let me just start by saying that this is a really good Hammond emulation. If this is what you're after, you're definitely not going to be disappointed. Many people will say that playing the Hammond from presets is blasphemy, and I'll have to agree with that actually. Let's see how it sounds. You have the drawbars here, and I'm actually going to turn off, let's turn off the effects. So we'll be kind of no chorus or vibrato, no effects, no percussion, just a regular B3 sound. And I can pull out the drawbars and build up my sound from harmonics, just like you do with the regular Hammond. I can select either the upper or the lower presets, which can then be either split or assigned. One of them can be assigned to a different keyboard, which I don't have here. So let's stick with one preset and see how it sounds. There are, by the way, 5 different organ models. Probably the one you'll be using the most is the B3 one. There's also a B3 with an option for a foot bass, which I don't have. I'm not really an organ player. And let's see how we can modify this sound. So the first thing that you do is turn on a vibrato or a chorus maybe. And you have 6 different types here. Or just play without it. Of course, I think what people most identify the Hammond sound with is the Leslie effect, which is modeled here very well. And I can turn it on. Just, you can see how it sounds without it. And probably the most interesting or famous kind of Leslie variation is the motion between slow or no Leslie to fast. You can select, by the way, if the slow mode is either stopped completely or just slow. So now I'm slow, and I can either select a slow Leslie or no Leslie. And you can turn on the percussion. So this is better for percussive kind of playing, which again, I'm not a Hammond player, so I can't really demonstrate well. Whatever. An interesting variation is, of course, introducing overdrive. Which is ideal for playing those John Lord type of lines. Well, I hope you've gotten a fair idea of how the Electro 5D should sound like, and that this has helped you maybe decide whether to go for one or not. I'll say a few words in closing about my own sort of experience with this board. First of all, it's very light. It's 9 kilos, so it's perfect for taking to, if you want to play with friends, or to a rehearsal, or to a show. This is actually the main reason I got the Nord Electro. This has a nice action if you're going for Hammond or Clav, which is also usable for pianos. Not exactly my main sort of action that I'd go for, but it's usable. The control is great, but there's a trade-off. It's on the one hand, it's immediate, so you can just reach out and change stuff. On the other hand, it's shallow. So you're not going to get the sort of tweaking possibilities on this board that you would get with a regular, like, full-blown workstation or synthesizer or whatever. And of course, there's no comparison to software tools that really give you infinite possibilities. So this is limited in the amount of tweaking that you can do. The built-in samples are either very good for the keyboard sounds and the Hammond. They're okay for the synth sounds. This is not really a synthesizer. And the synth sounds, the strings, the brass, the analog synth sounds are, I think, more of an afterthought than the main use of this board. But they're definitely there and they're very usable. You can swap them out because this thing has swappable memory. So you can connect it to a computer and change the samples, and Nord offers different samples which you can load into this board. This is very nice of them. Again, not the main selling point of this particular board in my opinion. I would say this is really a player's board. It's not a good controller. There are no pitch and modulation wheels, as you may or may not have noticed. So it's not a good master controller or MIDI controller. It's not a good electric grand piano. It's not a good, the keys are not properly weighted. There is a weighted version. I've played it. I disliked the action immensely. I thought it was pretty crappy. Sorry, Nord, just my opinion. I highly suggest that you go out and play one for yourself so you can form your own opinion. And that's mostly it. I think if you're a player and you go out and play with other people a lot, or you want the possibility to do so, this is a very good choice to consider. As always, it's always a matter of opinion and what exactly you're looking for, and so forth. That's it. It's been a bit longer than usual. This has been over 30 minutes of a review, but I still hope that you've had fun, at least as much fun as I did, and I'll see you next time. If you've made it this far, then I'm happy to put in a shameless plug for my sister's online jewelry store. She makes handcrafted jewelry and she has an online jewelry store in Etsy. You should check it out if that's your thing. There's a link in the description and also in this thumbnail. That's it. I'll see you next time.